All right, welcome everybody. This is Stephanie Contreras here, and we are on series 3, week 1, and our topic for the night is commitment. And my name again is Stephanie Contreras. I will be your host and trainer tonight, and it's just a privilege to be able to host this training and be able to share them with people, since it's awesome to have information out there and just keep growing and expanding ourselves. And it definitely helps me to create the content, and it's so nice to be able to just pass it on. I love to create this night, not for me to just sit here and talk at you, but so you can come and join me in the conversation as well. So this is called the Business Fitness Forum night. And what it is just conversation about how fit are you for business. Okay. And so with the topic being commitment tonight, something that, we have to commit in order to make things happen. And so we'll have a conversation around commitment and what commitment means to, me, and what commitment means to you, and where you are committed in your life. And at the end, we will also create an exercise together where you can see the areas of life where you can commit. And hopefully you leave with new commitments tonight that you can take on for your life. So we are going to get started. I just want to show you guys a little bit of the calendar that we've had. Our series 1 was based on mindset, strategy, and lifestyle. We just completed series 2, which was belief, action, and victory. And the new series that we have right now is the commitment, follow through, and reward. You can actually go to the Facebook group, and some of our videos that we've had recorded are there. And our belief video with a guest, which is my friend and partner, Brittany Romero, which was a great video. We created a little overview, and we also created a full video. So if you guys wanted to have a visit to my YouTube, or if you want to just replay that one, we do have that belief video up on YouTube as well. You can just go to Stephanie Contreras, and that is there for you guys to listen to. And again, our new series is commitment, follow through, and reward. Really just topics for business to keep our mind on point and just keep us moving forward. And again, this isn't for me to talk at you. I want you guys to contribute, because the more you contribute, the better it is for us to really just bounce off ideas and grow together. And some suggestions for the training: please mute yourself while others are speaking, and feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to contribute. And the mute buttons are located in the options where Zoom allows you to, mostly at the top. And if you can, grab yourself a notebook and a pen so we can make sure that you can take some notes with you. And also listen attentively. You might miss something if you don't listen, so that's also a nice suggestion there. And again, the more you contribute, the more you'll get out of the training itself. So if you feel like you have something to share or would like to get something from the training itself, make sure you just unmute yourself when we are having our forum part of the training. And before I do get started, I do want to introduce to you guys here my great friend and partner, which is Kate. She is my virtual assistant. She is the one who helps me to make sure we can get people invited and make sure that we can just continue sharing great content, so that people know that we are sharing this information and having these nights every other Monday. I know that tonight is one of those Mondays as well, where a lot of my people that follow our Business Fitness Forum are people from Enagic, which is the business that I'm with. And so this is a night that actually lands on the night where a large training happens. So some of those people will be at that training, since we have ours recorded and that one is not. So that is understandable, but it is really exciting to just have this topic. It's a fresh topic, a new topic. We have new content. So if you've been in the training before, this is definitely just a new piece for tonight. But Kate, go ahead and introduce yourself, and I will mute myself as you do that.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. So good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you again for your unending support. And I suppose to not make my message longer anymore, because I thought there's no first timer here, but I can see that we have, I think, 3 first timers, and welcome to our training. So my name is Kate, and I am from Philippines. And I am her virtual assistant. So I'm the one who is sending invitations and reminding you all to come and Zoom with us. And I'm glad that you made it tonight. So, of course, as a virtual assistant, my role is to send emails, invitations, making videos, editing her photos, posting it on her social media account, and of course, updating everything on her social media account. So, if you have any questions to ask or something to share in your mind, you are all free to speak. And we hope that you will get so much, of course, value for this training. So just enjoy and have fun. And that would be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. I really appreciate all your support, and it's definitely nice to be able to share this night with you when you're here with me at the trainings. And so thank you for your commitment as well. Awesome. So we will get started. I always like to start the topic with just really giving the definition of what is commitment, just to really fire really what it stands for as a definition. And as it says here, it's the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or activity. And it's an engagement or obligation that restricts freedom of action. So we'll definitely use some of these terms here and just really go through what it is. So now I wrote a quote here, but every success is established by decisions made from a commitment. So really commitment is what opens up our world to what it is that we want to create. And that's where we start to make decisions based off of commitment, whether that means to act a certain way, live a certain way, and really rise up to an expectation, which is what we're going to have a conversation about. So I wrote here, where does commitment matter? When wanting to expand your life in an area that is important to you, whether that's in your health, your career, whether that's an organization, like in your life, having like cleanliness in your life, a lifestyle, a certain lifestyle that you want to create, high levels of lifestyle, or your finances, you can have commitment to yourself. And you can also have commitment to an institution. An institution is something like an organization, which is like a business partnership, a church, a training program. You can be a part of a band. You can be a part of a job or a career. And these are just common places where a lot of people come together, basically, right? And so people come together and there's an expectation for you to participate and to be a part of something. And the more committed you are to it, the more you can expand in it and become a part of something, and also get the vision of whatever organization you're a part of. Welcome, Monica. I see you're here with us. Thank you for joining us tonight. And there's also commitment to others when you're starting a friendship or a family and really creating a pleasurable bond. And commitment is the foundation that will make something work and will make it work in a greater level, because without commitment, really people can't count on you. So that's what's beautiful about commitment, is that it creates a structure and a foundation for people to be able to count on each other. Commitment creates strength as well. It's the backbone of a group or organization, and it is what gives a group its strength. Here are several reasons why commitment is important. Committed people influence people. It gives them power. It gives them really a powerful leadership, right? Because they can be counted on. Now, people who are committed are the ones who take discouragement, who don't take discouragement negatively. Okay. And so this was very powerful. It's because they simply don't give up, right? When people give up, then, people don't really consider them as people that are committed. And they set an example, committed people, right? For those who don't have the confidence or experience to go through the hard times and hold on for the rewards of success, right? Usually when we're looking for a mentor, when we're looking for support, we look for people who are already succeeding. And the reality is those are people who are already committed to a cause. They're committed, they're dedicated, they're going to show up, they're going to be there. And it's really until we can rise up to the commitment that we can actually be a part of something. People cooperate at higher levels when they share commitment, right? Commitment creates camaraderie, it creates trust and unity. And we all know that there's power in unity. And so these are the qualities a group needs in order to keep it going for the long run. Now, these are just some points, right? Expect to rise through commitment. To commit is to simply promise to do something, and it creates an expectation, and it also creates a momentum when taken seriously. And that's what's awesome, is that if you want something to go your way, if you want something to work for the best, you want to create some type of momentum, and that's only going to happen if there's commitment. Okay. And you have to ask yourself, when there is no momentum, what are you committed to? Are you not committed, or why are you lacking commitment? And we're going to have a conversation about that in just a bit. Now, the hardest thing is recognizing what you are committed to. And I've always mentioned this, because when you don't know where you're going, you can't create a strategy. So we always have to look at what is it that we're committed to in order to create a goal or a vision and be able to go towards something. Most times people follow the vision of a leader and adopt someone else's commitment. And this is a great strategy in order for you to know, what direction should I go in? Now, people must learn to commit. This is actually a skill, right? A lot of people at a young age, like kids, if it wasn't for their parents taking them to school, they probably wouldn't wake up on their own to go to school, right? We have to teach commitment to the people around us. And how do we do that? By modeling it is one of the easiest ways of doing that, right? Our parents model commitment. My parents did that for me, right? I never missed a day of school because my mother took me to school every single day. But that modeled commitment because she was committed that I had perfect attendance. She was committed that I showed up. And she was committed that if I was going to go to school, I was going to do it at a high level, right? Commitment isn't something when you just do it when you feel like it, right? That's what we have to give up, the feeling that we want to do something or not. You want to do it whether you feel like it or not. That's what really inspires people to follow you, is when you're doing things out of commitment and they realize, wow, like, how does she do things like just, how does she create miracles? It's like, well, I'm doing things when I don't even feel like doing them, right? So you have to learn to push yourself in those moments when I'm going to make sure we mute everybody. Welcome to the people who are joining us. I'm going to mute you, but feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to participate in the next coming sections that we have for participation. Okay. Now, we were here where it says people must learn to commit. And when people don't commit, most times it is derived from people's insecurity and believing that they can't follow through with a commitment. It's really a fear of failure, right? We don't make commitments because we fear failing or not following through, or, not having the support. There's a lot of reasons, or we're just truly not committed to something, or it's not clear that we're committed to, or what we can be committed to. So in order to start creating commitment, you really have to ask yourself this question, what are you committed to? Commitment empowers you when you honor your word and overcome. So when you actually have that vision of like, I'm committed to people expanding their lives, I'm committed to people being a part of, rather than them having TV to watch right now, it's like you're here, you're learning, you're growing. I'm committed to creating a space for people to grow and expand themselves, right? And if not, I wouldn't have shown up tonight, right? So my commitment is showing you guys that I really want to help people expand themselves. And you can see that when people show up and do something, their commitment is right behind, like you can actually see commitment. And like, you may not be able to point to it, you might have to ask the person, so what are you committed to, right? But people can sense commitment because it really does come from a place of confidence, right? Now you commit to something and you do what you say you're going to do, right? So I say that I'm going to be here every other Monday, and whether I'm ready or not, I would have to show up, right? But coming ready also shows how committed I am, right? Again, it's an option to show up very powerfully and committed at a high level. And that's just really a suggestion of mine. When you commit at a high level and commit to greatness, it really will show. And, it always does create results. So that's what's awesome about commitment. Now, following through with your commitments, as I mentioned, it creates confidence. And really people follow confident people. And so that's something very important, is that if you want to be a person that has great leadership, you need to have confidence. And in order to have confidence, you have to be committed. Now, what happens when you begin to expand yourself and you're committed to many things? Well, you have to learn another skill, which is communication. And you have to communicate as a part of commitment as well. You see, a great skill to develop when you become a person of commitment, as I mentioned, is communication. Communication is key because you won't always find yourself meeting deadlines and promises, or also known as commitments, right? So, believe it or not, people expect you to say something. When you're not going to show up to a commitment, and you just don't show up, that actually gets people resentful and a little bit upset and mad, right? Because they expect people to be committed to them. We actually expect commitment, right? When people say something, we do expect people to follow through, right? And when we don't, it not only looks bad on our part, but it says that we're really not committed to something. And maybe we are. Maybe it's just a function of having to expand. Maybe it's a function of having to remove the fear, right? But how do you do that? Or how do you really honor your commitment when you fail to commit or actually follow through? Well, communication is part of what can help you to restore what you say you're going to do. And that's really a skill, because it doesn't feel comfortable, but it's really necessary. So it's never easy to communicate when a commitment is broken, but this is when real courage and respect gets developed. This is when relationships start to form and create more bonds, right? And it's really important to recognize that even just a 2-minute call to say, hey, I'm going to be late. Hey, I only have a couple minutes, but I just wanted to check in. I wanted to, a couple texts. Like, today communication is easy because we have text messages, right? They get recorded and they're there. But it really comes down to letting people know that you value commitment, that you value their presence in your life, right? And one of the things that I'm just getting more present to in life is like, as I start to commit to more things, I'm like, wow, time is limited, right? And so that's where it's important to recognize that as you begin to expand, maybe you can't do everything on your plate. So then you have to outsource certain things, which is why I hired a virtual assistant. I feel like, to me, it's like I have so many things on my plate that I don't really put too much importance to communicating on social media, but it's something that I am so committed that there's a presence online for me, right? And so what I commit to is creating relationships with photographers. I create relationships with Kate, and part of that relationship is communicating with her. Hey, I have a quote. Let's post this today. Hey, so outsourcing something is also part of beginning to expand. And this is really just creating structures, which is part of what's going to come up next. And what we see is that commitment causes you to expand. So as you get good at commitment, you will trust yourself too. That's also part of getting great at it. You will trust yourself to commit more often. So then you begin to create better structures as a function of creating more commitments, and others will consider you a person that can be counted on. And I think that's what's really important about honoring being a person of commitment, right? And really, commitment is in every area of our lives, which is why I'm excited to, at the end, really come together and talk about what things we're committed to, in areas like our family, in areas like a romantic relationship, in areas like our physical health, in areas like our careers, in areas like our finances, in areas like our travel and leisure and play in our lives. Like all of those areas, we should have commitments in those areas, right? And I think, like I said, one of the greatest commitments you can have is to live life at a very high level. Like that should just be a standard of your commitment, right? That's how I live. That's what I like to think, is that, I want to really inspire that upon people, is that, in the process of what I'm going to talk about next, that that you're pushing your limits when you begin to fail on your commitments, right? This is a really big topic for me because I know that I took on new commitments in my life that have caused me to not show up powerfully in certain areas. And it actually, in the beginning, starts to bring you down. Like I've experienced that, where I'm like, man, am I not committed? Like I start to question my own commitment. And I just remember a coach of mine telling me that as you begin to play a bigger game, we call it, right? As you begin to commit to more things, you'll start to recognize yourself not having the capacity. And really, what that means is that you need to create new structures, you need to create more capacity. And really, what has to increase is your belief that you can, right? And so, everything that starts to happen in our lives, like they say, what you believe you can achieve, but tend to not commit to certain things because we just truly won't believe that we can have what it is that we want to commit to. So when committed, as stated in the definition, sometimes you might have to restrict in freedom of action. And even restricting yourself and believing that you can't, right? That's one area that I'm realizing, like, you know having to wake up really early even after falling asleep late. I'm like, I can't sleep in anymore. Like I can't. I need to commit to finishing the things that I say I'm going to do. One of the things that helped me just recently, I called a coach of mine and she was like, "Well, let's create a structure around that." And I forget, it always comes down to very basic stuff. This is why I love having this conversation. Creating structure, right? And I realized that I have my calendar on my phone, but because I can't see 2 to 3 weeks ahead, because I don't have like a list of my commitments, which I can, but it's not something that's really present for me. I like to have it in paper. So it's just so easy to, if you want to start creating an expansion in your life, is literally having conversations with people. I always say that you're one conversation away from everything you want in your life, but you almost have to recognize, like, what is missing in my life? What am I not doing right now? Right? And what I wasn't doing is calendaring on my on an actual calendar on paper. And once I started, I just purchased my calendar. It just came in and I wrote down everything. I had my full day today. And I realized I had to erase some things. And I like to calendar with pencil because I realized I'm going to erase some things and I'm going to put it on the next days if I'm not going to finish. Right? So really just having structures that work is going to help you be better at your commitments. And like I said, it can seem like a bad thing when you're not following through, but the reality is all that's missing is a few structures and strategies to help you to expand, right? And because really what you're doing when you're not, maybe, yeah, it could be over committed, but when you're over committed, it's just really that you need to find better structures in order to keep you more in place in really keeping yourself at the highest level, right? And so recognizing what we have to offer, I use this in like every presentation, that you have 5 currencies. You have time, you have money, you have energy, you have relationships, and you have knowledge, right? Like I mentioned, I had to give up some sleep, I had to give up some energy, right? And for me, that was part of a commitment where I said, if I'm going to get everything done today, I have to wake up early. And what I recognize is that um, what I'm noticing in that I when I tend to procrastinate, it's mostly because I start to do other things than the things I'm truly committed to, right? I don't know if you've noticed that in your own life, but I start to, for example, today I was requested to pull an insurance ID card for one of the vehicles for my dad, from one of our workers. And so I printed all of them and then I started putting them in all the cars, but I didn't have that in my list of to do things in my calendar. And so I start doing other things which now take me out of the time that I have to put into my commitments, right? And so what I realize is happening when I do that is that I begin to create more pressure and more stress, right? So it's just a way of realizing that, there's things that still get in my way and that it's causing me to show up a certain way. So almost having better boundaries or realizing that I can outsource things like that, like, hey, for my assistant here at the house, I need you to go and put all of these insurances in the vehicles, right? Or I could do it after my commitments, right? But creating a structure even around that, because the only way you're going to recognize like why you're not meeting your goals, reaching your goals, is to actually find, like, put it in your calendar, set some goals, and even give yourself some accountability with like creating some results, right? And I just think that it's really about disappearing whatever's in your way. because really I've always believed that things need to come towards you, but it really comes down to you even putting it out into the future, right? If and like, I love to even recognize right now, like, yeah, I haven't actually set some goals because I'm still trying to expand to this new level of commitment. Right now, it's just like passing by, it's following through, but I haven't gotten myself to a level of like extreme reward, right? And the only reason that's happening is because I haven't created a real vision. And this happens for everybody. This isn't like a Stephanie syndrome. Once we actually commit to what we're actually going after, things start to just fall into place. And so that's one of the things about recognizing when you're expanding is that you truly don't even know what's that end goal that you're committed to because you're not super. And this is literally just, this is how it works. We just have to get more clear about what we want. Again, the greatest thing that's stopping us from actually getting what we want is simply not knowing exactly what we want, right? Things start to unravel. Even if you don't know exactly what you want, putting something out there is going to get you closer to actually making something happen anyway in the first place. So structure and strategy. I figured I would give some tips and pointers on structure and strategy. Always hiring a coach, a mentor, or someone who has done it already. Finding somebody out there who's done it, like believing, number one, that you can even find somebody, right, that will guide you, that will care enough to show you and, make a way for you as well. That's part of being able to follow through on your own commitments. Finding an accountability partner is also a great strategy. Like one of the things for me is I want to commit to not gaining weight or feeling confident in my own skin. So part of that is going to the gym. Pretty committed, at least 5 times a week. And so I have a gym partner, right? So that's finding an accountability partner. In business, growing at higher levels at a faster rate is finding business partners or hiring people to support me in my businesses. Kate is an accountability partner for me because if it wasn't for Kate, I probably would have given up on this vision of creating a new business, right? Because of all the other things that I have in my life. And so it's just realizing that those are structures that are put in place in order for me not to give up, right? And whether things are going good or bad, it really comes down to how much energy and how much commitment I'm putting behind something. And test yourself, overcommit, right? I like to overcommit because I want to see how committed I am to living a big life. Really, life is more fun when you're committed. And commit to high levels. That's just a way of living. It's a high standard. It's an option, but it's something that is available for you. And I find that when you overcommit and you do more than you know you can do, you start to expand. And so that's really what I find life is all about. You start to change, you start to grow, right? My body's not going to stay the same if I'm going to the gym every day, or maybe I'll maintain if I'm just not eating right. But if I'm starting to put structures in place for me to start making changes and putting the right supplements and, finding everything you need and having a team or programs, books or knowledge, finding everything you need to put it together like a puzzle is super important. And so right now, obviously we all know this, and it's just recognizing like, what am I committed to in certain areas in life, and remembering like what piece of the puzzle is missing for me, right? And asking yourself that right now, what is missing for me, right? And expecting, or putting others in commitment with you, as in requesting some help and requesting accountability is part of you putting something out in the future, right? Asking for help, asking for support. That's also one of the greatest skills we can have, is like really letting go of what that's going to look like or how it's going to feel, and really just going after that. Now, what causes you to fail on your commitments? Well, not being clear, as I mentioned, on what is expected as well in order to follow through with your commitments. So sometimes a mentor of mine said this to me, and I love repeating it because it makes a lot of sense. I see it now more than ever. People who have experience, they actually tend to undercommit because they know what it takes to go after something. They know that it takes energy, time, it takes money, it takes knowledge, it takes all of our currencies in order to actually make something happen, right? When we are new at something and we don't know what it takes, we actually tend to overcommit right? Because, we think it'll be easy to get there, or if we get excited about an overcommitment, we think it's going to pull us towards it. But the reality is, when you start getting very realistic about what you're truly committed to, you'll actually be even more realistic about your goals and setting them accordingly, because you know what's actually expected, right? And so that's just something that not being clear on what's expected of you can actually cause you to fail. But the only thing about failure is how you take it, right? How we react to our failures, and if we stop or if we just continue pushing through. Now, another thing about commitments is that if we, like me, like I was mentioning, things like distractions will cause you to show up in your commitments without power. So removing distractions in our life is just so important, and realizing what is a distraction and what is actually empowering your life, right? This is something that I'm still learning. We can all be learning this all the time, and realizing, like, sometimes relationships can be a distraction. I have certain friends that I'm like, I think I have to cut this relationship because it's no longer going to empower what I'm up to, right? People who don't have the same mindset in business, people who don't have the same energy in really going to taking care of themselves, or keeping their energy levels, as in, like, whether they argue or not, like I can't have that in my life because it's just going to bring my energy down, right? So realizing that relationships can be distractions as well. So really surrounding yourself with people who are going to empower you often is part of you having a life that works. Having lack of confidence or fear will always stop us from our commitments, right? Not knowing what is expected is going to cause us to have lack of confidence as well. So really, again, life is all about structures, and it's just, in business, we call them systems, right? Having systems so that we can know, that things can keep running. Now, too many commitments can also cause you to fail in your commitments, again, because you need more expansion in your life. Not that too many commitments is bad. I actually don't think being committed to too many things is a bad thing if you can handle it, right? Some people can't handle it. There's people like, what's his name? The Branson guy. I forgot his name right now, but Jesus. There's, high level people. Elon Musk, you think he's just committed to Tesla? No, he's also got SpaceX, and he had PayPal and other things. Like, they're committed to different businesses. Is it, I forget Brenson's first name. Does anybody can I know a lot of people. Come on, I'm just like gonna Google it. I can't believe I forgot his name right now. I just know he's a high level achiever and he has many businesses. And no, my gosh, he's one of the richest people on the planet. Can somebody come on and tell me who's the Brunson guy, or Branson? I don't know his first name right now. Come on, I know some people know him. Oh my gosh, I can't even find him. Anyways, you guys know who I'm talking about. All these high level entrepreneurs who just have several businesses, who are running multiple teams and are running, multiple ideas, right? They function off of ideas, and then they create systems and structures to make them happen. So that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, it's not bad to overcommit, but you got to get good at it. And that's why I'm saying that commitment is just such a powerful tool. It's literally a way of living. And, as you commit in a certain area of your life, you can realize, like, wow, this can be very powerful for me to use this skill, because it is a skill, in all the areas of my life. And really what it takes with commitment is learning how to chunk out areas of your life, as in, like, today we'll be here for an hour to 2 hours, right? I was at the gym for about an hour and a half, and I worked on a project for about a couple hours today, and all these other things, right? So learning how to check in and check out, check in and check out, right? But being powerful and being present when you're checked in, right? So that's another great thing. So now another thing that causes us to fail on our commitments is the being unwilling, right? Unwilling to do whatever it takes. If we're unwilling to do whatever it takes, it's like, again, we're living in the feeling zone. I don't feel like it. I don't feel good today. I don't know what it takes, right? And that's just being unwilling to go and learn and unwilling to tap into just the unknown. Now, lack of structure, as I've been mentioning, lack of support. I think that when you start putting yourself in situations where there's no like real support or real encouragement and people to push you forward, that's also something that'll cause you to not commit to something, and it'll discourage you. And that's another thing, is discouragement and not sharing your commitments with others and keeping them to yourselves. So what's amazing about being in commitments is that when you're committed to something, everyone should know. And so we need to be telling people in our lives like, hey, you know, I'm committed to this. And really sharing ourselves with others is what starts to open up our world. And so that's something that I hope that inspires out of being here tonight. So why commit? This is really powerful. And I'm just going to read it to you guys here. So people commit to a group or organization because they gain something important from their involvement. When you invite them to become involved, you are not only asking their help, you are offering them an opportunity, right? You offer them an opportunity to work on an issue that is important to them. You benefit the community, like I want to do here tonight, right? You meet and spend time with like-minded people, like we're doing tonight. We expand our skills, or they expand their skills. And that's why we commit, guys. We become a part of a team. We learn how to lead. We rise up to a challenge. We meet high standards, and we accomplish something significant, right? To make a difference is something significant. To make a lot of money so you can create an investment portfolio is something that is significant. To start a family is significant. To be a part of something is significant. So that's why we commit. It's to create, right? And so really it's asking ourselves, are we committed to creating something? Because if not, we're just committed to, really, like I said, no standard, right? We're not committed to anything. And so that's just what's really powerful about recognizing that when people don't commit, it's that they're just not ready for that next level in their life. And that's where we have to look. Oh, here we go. Next slide. Well, here it is. I'm actually done very fast tonight. So awesome. I have the exercise of the evening, and I wrote down to ask yourself, what are you committed to in this area? And I wrote down the 7 areas. We call them the 7 equities. And as I mentioned, they're family, romantic relationship, health, career, finances, leisure, and spirituality, right? What are you committed to in these areas? And when you look at all of these areas, ask yourself, do I have commitments in every area? Because as you start to expand, you can actually create and carve out time for every area of your life on a daily basis, or at least on a weekly basis, and at minimum at a monthly basis. So right now I'm actually going to play some music, and I want you guys to actually start to write down. And I'm actually excited to hear what you guys are committed to in these areas. And you can write down 1 or 2 commitments for each area. And I'm going to do this exercise with you and hope that you guys are ready to share for tonight. So I don't see too many people with their cameras off, but I will go ahead and make sure that, Jerry, you're the one with your camera off. So if you want to join us tonight, and it's really great to have you here tonight, but let me go ahead and play something here. All right. And let's see what this sounds like. All right, I like to play some peaceful music, and this one's actually called Peace. So if you guys have pen and paper, feel free to pull it out now, and we're going to start writing what we are committed to in all of these areas of our lives. So I'm going to give us, this song is like 4 minutes, so go ahead and take your time there. All right. My enemies on every side, I'm tempted to run and hide. Your gentle whisper reaches out to me. Peace holds me when I'm broken. Sweet peace, it passes understanding. When safe in your arms. I remember who you are. You're the God who's never far. So I will not be afraid. Cause you always keep me safe. You give me peace that holds me when I'm on number 4, guys. What number are you guys on? Let me see. Welcome. We just had someone join us. We're doing an exercise here. Oh, let me see. Welcome, Norma. Welcome, Norma. Let me see. Is that connected yet? Take a deep breath and be still and know that you are God. All right. I wasn't able to get to all of the tabs here. We there? Let's see. I'll put this on pause. All right. And I see you're connecting there, Norma, but I don't know that you're able to get your audio on. Okay. All right. We had some people jump off as well. Okay. Let's see. Jerry, are you there with us? I would love to hear your commitment. Actually, this was an exercise we should do anyways in person, but if we can do it here tonight, that'll be great as well. You there? Jerry, are you there with us? Oh, there you are. Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. How are you?
I'm having a little breakdowns over here because you know how I take care of my mom, so I have to do certain things.
Oh, okay. Are you okay to?
But I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for being here tonight and handling whatever you've got to handle there, but also being as present as you can be. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes. And did you get some things written down? Because I am curious to hear what you have written down.
Well, I only got to one because I was actually in the living room doing something.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the first one is just family. I mean, that's my number one commitment, and obviously you have it there too. So, but I mean, family and being committed in paying it forward, you know, to my family. I mean, that's all my family, you know, in my immediate family, which it is that I am doing it with my mother. So I'm taking care of her and giving her, you know, love, care, and obviously, you know, just making a contribution to her now while she's alive. And so, you know, I don't know, I live the present moment in life. And I think that, you know, whenever you do something, you want to do it now and not later.
Right.
So that's my commitment to my family, like doing things for them and caring for them and loving them.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And if
Thank you.
And if we had to choose one without you having written it down, can you choose one more area and tell me what you're committed to in that area?
Yes, sure. It definitely would be finance, career and finance. So you know, I've done a lot of things with commitment. Like, you know, I've committed myself to things, like developing myself even in leadership. And I, you know, like you said, it's not easy. Commitment is not easy, but when you commit, it doesn't really matter. Well, for me, this is my point of view on commitment. It doesn't matter, uh, you know, how it's going to turn out. What matters is that I commit to some vision that I have, which for I can speak about it in leadership, because in leadership, like I had no idea, no clue that I can be you know, this unstoppable person who's actually getting to people's life, their lives, and that I would do that. I had no idea, but as I just when I first started, it was just like all I knew it was failure, 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 failure. Like I wasn't being able to get into the worlds of people. In no way, I just wasn't able. I didn't even know how to do that. And so, long story short, it the more I did it, the more I did it, and the more I failed, the more I failed, the more I failed, and it was a lot of failing. And then all of a sudden, one day, and out of the blue, now I was in that world of that person. Like it was like a magical experience. But then after that, it was very difficult. It was kind of like I had more of the experience of being very effective, with being a leader and leadership with people. But I had to go through that hurdle of failing and failing and failing. And really, like I look at it this way. I mean, I'll just say in simple words. I love basketball. When I grew up as a kid, I played a lot of basketball. I looked up to a lot of guys, Magic Johnson, I don't know, like that. But one thing that I'll never forget is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan says that, he failed and failed and failed and failed and failed. And it makes a lot of sense. And he always failed, but whenever he failed, he also became victorious, or he became victorious. He discovered things, so really it's not like really like being successful and being a winner is when you fail, you have the opportunity to discover something you never were going to discover unless you actually took that action. But that action comes from the commitment. Without the commitment, there's no action. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do it.
Right.
So anyways, I can keep going on and on. I'm sorry. I don't want to take all the time.
I actually love that you're mentioning that, it does take failure, and it's, as I had mentioned, it's when we don't let that failure negatively impact our decision to keep going, because a commitment means, whether it looks ugly, whether it sounds ugly or feels ugly, you just got to keep going until something shows up and you realize, wow, there's something out on the other side of my commitment that is more powerful than I know, because we commit not really knowing, like you said, the result. And we just know we're committed to something on the other side. And it's just having the commitment to like the bigger picture. Something great always shows up. And I love what you were saying about leadership. When it comes to leadership, I'm sure that failure meant, and that they didn't, respond a certain way, or they didn't do what you thought they would do, or they didn't, take the action that you thought they were going to take. Because in leadership, we want to influence. And what's awesome about what you said is that when you became effective, really what it turned out is that you learned to listen better, and because what happens when we're not ready to commit, like I said, we really don't even know where we're headed. And we're all like in our head, like trying to seek, like, where am I going? What am I even doing this for? And that little thought that gets in the way of like, what am I even doing this for? Who am I doing this for? What's on the other side of this? And all of those questions that lie in between our head and our ears, doesn't just really allow us to be present. Like you said, be in the now. And I just love it. I'm bouncing off of pretty much everything you said, but if that's the area in career, as you were mentioning, I didn't really conclude, what is it that you would be committed to in that area or in that finances? Since now that I kind of summed up what you were saying, I really love what you were saying though, because it does come down to listening. So I'm like, I didn't listen there. What is the commitment in career or finances?
Yes. Well, I guess just the same thing that I just started to share at the beginning. That it's kind of like I'm finding myself in leadership. I discovered how to listen
Mhm.
in leadership. You know, so I have that. You could say that attribute. You know, thanks to so much failing of not listening. um, but now here I am with finances. Like I want to create an abundance of finances, and I want to create a career that I'm passionate to wake up in the mornings to speak about it, or to talk about it, or to share about it. And I find myself once again, like in leadership, I have no clue how to do that. Because I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, there's a lot of things that it's going to take, and there's work involved. But it's like I'm finding myself back in that place where I did with not being able to listen before. Now here I am with finances in my career. Like I know I'm capable. I know I see myself there. I just don't know how to get there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I,
and
I,
it's scary, and it's like I don't want like damn, like what do I have to go through this thing again, like like an experience like that again. But at the same time it's like, but you know what, uh the only thing that moves me is making a difference, and so it has to do with making a difference. So I don't care what it's going to take. And if I'm going to mess up, I'm going to mess up, which I am. But but that's going to give me the ability to actually like recover from looking at what I messed up on, to be very effective at what I'm going to talk about,
man.
or
Well,
present, or whatever. And then that's going to give me, I think, the results and the success and everything I see out there in the future.
right. Right.
Yeah.
And the baby steps is like creating one breakthrough, one breakthrough
Yeah.
at a time, and starting to recognize what could actually be the first thing is, well, if it's, even recognizing that, okay, it's a career and it's going to impact my finances, right? And so that's how powerful, because that takes up two areas of life. I want to distinguish that, in that you can actually have a very powerful career but terrible finances if you have bad financial habits, right? Or you
Mhm.
can have the opposite. You can have a career that is not as established, but good financial habits. So
Mhm.
recognizing that as you're building both of these areas of your life, or, which are very important, they seem like they're one and the same, but building them up almost independently and like uncollapsing them is super important, because they impact one another, but they're not the same area, right? And so I had to look at that when I came across what is called the seven equities, because I didn't create these seven equities or these seven areas of life. I actually pulled them from a really high level training that I got, and I thought, why would they put career and finances twice? Like I thought of it as the same thing. And I realized as I got older, I was like, no, I have a great career, but my financial habits aren't as great as my career. You know what I mean? And so that could be, what that's when I recognize, like, oh, okay. And it could be backwards. Some people have great finances and not the greatest career, not an advanced position in their career, or they can be great at both, right? That's not everybody's situation, but recognizing, like, when you uncollapse them, how you can powerfully be in both areas powerfully. I don't know how to say that in a better way, but being in both areas powerfully. And again, because it's a standard that we create in every area of our lives, right? And like uncollapsing what's family and what's romantic relationship, because those are two different areas as well. And those are, I feel like, are the only ones that really collapse, but those two areas, four technically. But and just realizing that in order for us to find ourselves more happy or more committed, or more, it's even recognizing that all of these areas have a play in our lives, right? Like they're all at play all the time, right? And so if we start to ignore an area of our lives, then it starts to actually impact the other areas of our lives. And so that's why it's really important. I recommend at least take down these areas. And I like to check in with myself every now and then and actually see, like, what would I rate these areas of my life? Right. And that's part of some of the exercise that I do when I start to coach somebody, is that I have them go through and see, what would you rate your family life? What would you rate your romantic life? What would you rate your health? What would you rate your career? What would you rate your finances? What would you rate your leisure? And what would you rate your spirituality? And once we rate all of these areas of our lives, then we can actually realize, like, oh, if the area of finances is not going so well, then it's going to impact how confident I feel when I go out there to try to make more money. You know what I mean? So, like, I recognize that I don't even want to make more money because I already know I'm going to spend it. So I'm kind of like, I'll just not deposit my 6 inactive checks, because then I'm just going to spend the money, right? So I'd rather just keep them in their envelopes outside of my bank account until I can start to recognize, like, what are my goals in this area? What am I committed to in this area, right? Because if I am committed to making sure I can have everything clear and start to save and start, but what am I saving for? And so always going down to finally realizing, like, okay, I have a goal, I have a commitment, now I can run after it, right? And it's just a way of life, because when we don't do this, we really just start to go astray. We just go in no direction, right? And that's what I really want to help people avoid, because I can tell you, like, in this area of my life, for me, I'm like, I wish I would have invested. I wish I would have done certain things. And that wishing land actually creates lack of confidence. It creates a little bit of dissatisfaction in life. It creates a lot of different things. And it's not until you can get a hold of what's actually going on that you can actually make a choice to do something about it. Right. And then you could do it powerfully, because you remove everything that you've done. And it's like, okay, I know I've had those habits, so now I'm going to intentionally create something newly. Right. And it's a powerful conversation to have. And realizing that, again, it's about being able to expand yourself, and that all of these areas are important, not just one, right? They're all important. And we should always be checking in with all of these areas. And so, yeah, I guess for now, I don't know if anybody else took the time to actually write down. Thank you, Jerry. I want to say thank you. Is there anything else actually that's there for you that you would like to share?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'll let somebody else share, but just really quickly, for me, it just boils down to, with what I discovered in my leadership and doing my leadership thing, it boils down to being myself with people. And when I discovered all that, to do that, I can make anything happen, magic happen. And so that's what it boils down to just being who I am, really, myself. And and that's what I'm trying to look for here in the business, because once I discover who I am, I can be free like a bird. And then, like people just get inspired about that, so anyhow, that's all. And I'll let somebody else share. Thank you.
I listened well on that one. I heard that when you discover who you are, and do you find that it's a discovery or a creation? Because I'm just asking, I don't know, actually. It's whatever it is for you, right? There's no right or wrong answer, but what would you say? Is it something we discover, or is it something we create by allowing ourselves to be present?
I think it's both. I think it hits both, because I have it like I discovered it. Like I discovered, I had to discover that I could do it, and I'm confident, and so I can show my freeness to anybody, and they're like, oh man, that like I love to be free like that guy. Like, I mean, he doesn't matter how he looks, or if he's fat, or whatever, he doesn't care if anybody's criticizing him or anything. So for me, it was like discovering that I'm confident. Once I have that, I'm confident, there's nothing that stops me or that I'm unstoppable with my confidence.
Yeah.
And so even if I say, hey guys, how are you? And, share a little bit about you, whatever I say, I mean, it could be just whatever. People are just already magnetized just by who I am because of that freeness. And,
Yeah.
anyhow, but yeah,
Yeah.
but I want to hear from some other people. Okay.
No problem. Yeah. I don't know who else like to share tonight. We are looking at the areas of life here from family, romantic relationships, health, career, finances, leisure, and spirituality. And we are creating one or two commitments and asking ourselves, what are we committed to in this area? And
I'll share.
yeah, go ahead, May. I figure the people with their cameras off. So thanks for joining us tonight. I think you had mentioned you were with the Nagic. So thanks for joining us after. I appreciate it. And welcome tonight. So go
Thank you
ahead.
for having me. So I wanted to share something that I saw was familiar. Remember the other week I was telling you about GIF, right? G for being grateful, I insight, F for forgiveness, and then T for transformation. So another thing that I learned that it's very similar to what you have is we forget that there are different areas in our life, just as you put. And something that I've seen that was very similar, they talked about, like they had a left side and a right side about your current state. So where are you at now? And in each of those areas. And then on the right side, you would put like your desired state. Where do you want, exactly how you're putting, where do you want to commit to? And the acronym they had used, it was like the 7 F's. So the first one was family, which you have family on there. And the second one was friends and fun. They kind of put that together. Third one was faith, which goes with spirituality.
Yeah.
The fourth one was fitness, which goes with number 3, health. Your favorite fitness girl. The next one was farm, FARM. So farm meaning like, what are you doing productively? Farming. Okay. And next one was finances. You have finances already. And the last one was philanthropy.
With the PH, but I got
yes, but they spelled it with an F. And I didn't think about it. It's like, we have to, even though we're focusing on ourselves, we do have to be able to focus on others, like giving something, donating our time, whatever, something like that. So I just thought it was really amazing that you had this exercise, because it's so true. We don't know what we want until we start writing it out. So having this exercise, it's like, oh my gosh. And not just writing out, but going back to it, revisiting every single day, because we have to have that desired state, that committed state in our head right in front of us.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I put it in a folder and I'm like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, oh man. So thank you, because I did put it away. Like, well, actually what we did with those desired, with the state, we put it as a perfect dream life. So we would take all of those 7 and put it in some sort of story, so we can, because a lot of times we remember things as a narrative. So I just want to thank you for reminding me. It's like, get back to that narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. And that narrative that you're talking about really comes down to everything I like to say, is that you have to believe in a dream life in order to create a dream life, but you have to keep it present, because it's not going to happen on its own. You don't accidentally land on a dream life. You have to keep it present. You have to keep yourself aware of it. And I love what you shared. I don't have philanthropy, and I find that that's the same thing as contribution. Jerry is big on contribution as well. And I know that he lives by it. And this is a huge word. And, like what I'm creating here tonight is like a contribution night. Like I mentioned, this is not about me. And, but even that philanthropy, this is like a contribution project for me to be able to bring people together, to share their thoughts, to share their ideas, to share their, even their lessons in life, and what, we all come together and really just look at that and realize that, we're in this life together. And so we got to create together and support one another and build together. You know, we're not meant to do it alone. And that's what contribution is, like you feeding me and me feeding you and allowing ourselves to grow in an environment. And that's what this is all about for me, you know, and this takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of work. It takes, you know, it's that extra thing that I do to help people. And it's partially a function of an AGIC, you know, like an AGIC is a contribution project. Sure, there's the career side of the business, but then the philanthropy of it is becoming a leader, going out there and setting up events for people to come together to expand themselves. And that's where this was birthed out of. You know, I realized there's just such a need for us to come together, to grow together. And if we're not growing together, really, an AGIC is not growing together. People are not growing together. And you know, we really need power and unity, and it's a tough thing to be growing in leadership, you know, to build teams and to, you know, that all is not an easy thing, because philanthropy work is literally like soldiers for free. You know, I'm not paying anyone to be here tonight. I'm not paying May to contribute. I'm not paying Jerry to contribute. I'm not paying anyone to be here tonight. So it's really, do people want to come together and create based on someone's vision, right? And that's what we have to get powerful enough to believe in ourselves, that people do want to support us, that people do want to love us. And that's what philanthropy, I think, has a big foundation, is that when you have a vision, you go after it through believing that others want to contribute as well, and that it will make a difference. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that philanthropy. That actually, you know, it does make sense. And it's not really in any of mine, because you put family and leisure to, or you put friends and leisure together, which friends, family, romantic relationship, they're all kind of in there, right? But adding that contribution factor, I think, is another big thing. But even in that, you know, spirituality is a form of contribution, because as you develop in your spirituality, even though that is faith, that you recognize that keeping it to yourself, there's really no faith in keeping faith to yourself. It's really about expanding and helping other people expand around you. You know, it's, you can't be so faithful and expect, you know, just it to be for you. It really is about others. And so philanthropy and faith, it all really ties together. And so thank you, May. I really appreciate that. Now, how about personally? Can you talk about one area of your life here and what it is that you're committed to in that area?
All right, let me see. I would say the fitness one, but yeah, that didn't happen. So I have to look at that. Okay. Oh, okay. Farm. In terms of, it's on mine is farming, but it's in terms of just being more proactive. So my current state was just like, you know, how do I schedule my day? Sometimes I'll pre-plan, you know, my schoolwork, because I'm a school teacher, and, you know, I'll read once every few days. Well, that's kind of still happening. I gotta dedicate, be more productive in that. But then I put my desired state is to, you know, that, and it could go with, this can probably go with career-ish. Well, because it's a job, right? It's being productive and doing things. I said just to write down things to do prior, you know, just maybe the night before, getting my calendar out, being more productive and accomplished, like with, okay, yes, I did this, have my schoolwork ready to go, so I'm not rushing, like backwards planning.
Yes.
So that was something. Oh, and then in terms of finances, yeah, wanted to put some money away, but hey, but that money is good to use for an emergency. So I invested back. I went to Ion Faucet. Oh my gosh, I bought a whole bunch of stuff, but yeah. But yeah, so those are two things that I have. I mean, I have one for everything on there, but just to be committed. Yeah, right, as we should. The funny thing about commitment is sometimes we go, wait, what? Can't we just focus on one thing at a time, right?
Yeah, no, and it's really about expanding ourselves. I'm really going to recommend listen to this training from the beginning, because I talk about everything you just said. I actually shared that I had a conversation with a coach, and I was I was basically going to pull out of a program, and she said, wait a minute, so what's going on? Why are you doing that? Are you not present to the power that this course has had in your life? I'm like, I am. I just don't feel like I have enough time. And I'm like, and time is limited, you know? And that was just a real thing that was showing up for me. And she had me get present to that, you know, what structure are you lacking right now in order to make a difference in your life? And I'm like, well, look, I do calendar, but I calendar on my phone because I thought that that would make a difference back in, you know, it worked for some time, but it no longer works. So I bought myself a calendar. It's here somewhere. It's lying around. I already checked off everything that I needed to do for today. I think it's in the back room. And
are you using a mini planner or using a
yeah, it's actually a book. So I want to do my whole week. And and I'm able to create for my whole month as well. So I wanted something that I could see weekly and monthly. That way I'm present to at least a week or two ahead, because I always think I have time. So I spend more time doing things that I shouldn't. And that's just become now a little bit of an issue, because I'm like, wow, you know, I'm about to take a contractor's license test, and I'm like, I did not put time into studying. What did I do with my time? You know? And so that's where I'm realizing, like, okay, I'm falling behind on my own commitments. Therefore, I need to expand. I need a better structure. I need my life to come together again in a way where I put things like in boxes almost, you know, like I need to organize myself in a better way. And really that's because I'm committed to myself and the things that I want. Right. And I told myself, I don't want to expand too much in my Kangen business just yet until I commit to finishing that license, because I know how much energy it's sucking from me. Right. And so it's unfortunate, but it's like I'm expanding. So I want a new license. Well, then some things, since I'm committed to that, some things are going to have to be put on hold, or I'm going to have to put less time. Right. Rather than putting 15 hours, I might have to put 8 hours, you know, into my business. And that's just the reality that time is, you know, it's a conversation, but it is limited. You know, I had to recognize that, because as I started to expand and commit to more things, I just needed to be more organized. And I was mentioning earlier that, you know, something comes up and then I use time to do that. And I realize that now I have less time to do the other things, which is what you were mentioning. So I start getting pressure on how it's going to look and how I'm going to complete everything at the same time. And it just really gets you out of your zone. Right. And you just show up less powerfully in the things that you are committed to. So that's why it's just super important. So I'm glad that you're already present to that. You can create a structure. And girl, I paid $7 for my calendar. I got it on Amazon. It came the next day. So really, like, it doesn't take that long to create structures and commitments. And like tomorrow, my dad tells me, I need you to make sure that he's like, put your assistant to do it, but get it done, you know, make sure that we get a battery for a truck. And I know that since I'm not going to do it, I need to write it down because I'm not committed to it. So I needed to write down, tell my assistant what she has to do tomorrow. Because if not, she comes in the morning, I'm like, oh, we have nothing to do for her. And then I get stressed, and then I get, you know, anxiety around, I'm just paying her to be here. Like that feels ugly, right? But I have so many things to do for her, but I forget because they're not like my commitments. So it's just, how can you handle taking on more, but being good at it, right? And living at higher standards, writing things down. I realized that I needed a calendar when I wrote down one day, which was on Friday, how many things I had in my head, right? And I wrote a page backwards and forwards of everything that I was doing just that day. And I was like, and I'm trying to manage the rest of this month. How? I'm like, I have no structure. So I realized that I was just falling behind. Like I mentioned, didn't study. I was sleeping in. So now I'm having to give up energy, right? I was mentioning the 5 currencies, and what you have available to you is your time, your energy, you have knowledge. Here, let me put the 5 currencies so you can see it. It's actually very powerful.
Yes, I was about to ask, what is that?
The 5 currencies are time, money, energy, relationships, and knowledge. And the reason time is a currency, obviously, because, you know, you
spend it, you waste it,
it's limited at the same time, right? But if you give time to somebody, it's really like, Well, some people are even exchanging time to make money. And even when you are building a career, you're putting time into it, right? Now, money, you can invest in something and that money also brings you back more money, like, buying yourself a business or, anything really when it comes to your money and it's an investment back. But when you give it, it's something that you give up, right? So currencies are given up. Your energy, I had to give up sleep. So I had to give up energy, right? I just realized I needed more time. So I need to give up sleep, at least not forever. I'm not saying this
Right, exactly.
forever. I just
I
knew
don't
one
want
day comes and I have all these 3 things. And yesterday, my brain, I couldn't even think what I had to do. So that's when I thought, okay, even leveraging my relationships, I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, I can't remember the 3rd thing I have to do. I'm going crazy, and it's like, but even having just somebody to tell that to, where I'm like, I need to write things down, like, using your relationship, or relationships can get you to that next level in that they open doors, right? Somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who is interested in buying a Kangen machine. Like that's a relationship, and leveraging your relationships, right? And knowledge, it's the ultimate currency, because knowledge gives you power to actually know what to do, know where to go, know how to do something. And so this is just very powerful, because again, when it comes to recognizing what to do next, just you got to realize, well, what do I have in my hands, right? These are the 5 currencies. Which one is suitable for you to use when you're committed to something? So again, $7 is money that I used in order to buy myself my calendar. What is it? My calendar, my agenda, right? And so that's just something very powerful, very easy that we can recognize. And what else is there? I think that really is it for, I don't know if we have anything else, May, that you would like to share before I just kind of take it on from here. And I think we'll pretty much end it up a little bit sooner right now.
No, I really do. And I do value what you're doing, because it does take a lot of preparation to host and to have these slides and to put out your energy. But then again, this is what you're made to do as a leader, and you're providing all of these tools for us. And imagine, right, when someone says, oh my God, Stephanie, thank you, you're just like, yes, 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 that lack of sleep really helped for you, right?
Yeah.
So I thank you for hosting. And Gerardo, I mean, I love your smile, Gerardo. I always just see you smiling and just nodding your head. It's true. We have to build the community. And I love what you were saying earlier about having this vision. We can't create on our own. Yeah, we can create ourselves, but that's just one canvas, or one piece of the puzzle. When you put all of us, all of our puzzles pieces together, we're going to create a beautiful masterpiece. So
That's right.
so high five, all y'all.
Thank you for coming on, and
Thank you.
yeah, Jerry as well. The contribution.
Hey, I made a commitment. I said I was going to come, and then I was like, oh, Daniel, and then I was like, nope, let me come after, because I want to support you and everybody here, because you do give that safe space for people to have a conversation. So
Right.
thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, May, and thank you, Jerry, as well, and for everyone who else joined us tonight too, and Carlos for always being here as a committed listener as well. I will comment back. He's also contributing, but he's by text message. He's personal.
That's okay.
And for my mother and father who support me in everything that I do. And we also had Normal here tonight, and a few of the people who have jumped off. But it's definitely fun to just have conversation and grow together, and realize that it's little by little that we start to create, something powerful. And from this conversation, I hope you guys can take something back home or to other people around you, and keep creating. That's really what this is all about. And I know we're all committed to something big in our lives, and that's why we're here tonight. And that's why we're a few, because we're those committed to something.
I saw your flyer, and this is the work, because this planner has a weekly focus, and I wrote this because I saw it on your flyer.
Oh my gosh, commitment. It's a big deal, and there's just a lot to say. Like I mentioned, It's a really good training. I recommend you going through it after I can send you the recording. We'll post it up. I think
Okay, thank you.
from it. Yeah, you're welcome. Awesome, guys. Well, we'll end it early tonight, which is awesome. A few contributions, and I just totally appreciate it because it's what makes the night. And I will close out. I forgot to mention, I am hosting this so that we can create just a space for anybody who, if you know anybody out there who's starting their business, who needs that extra support, or for yourselves, if you would like to go through this, I've just pretty much created a structure to be able to go through those 7 equities. So I am promoting it as well. And I've created a whole, just like a whole structure of videos in the topics of the strategy, the lifestyle, and mindset, and also for the 7 steps to becoming a network marketing professional. I've created videos for all of this, and just videos to easy like follow through, and really just as a training program. So it's an online course. And as I mentioned, those are the 3 topics, along with the mindset, strategy, and lifestyle, along with the 7 steps to becoming a network marketing professional. And they have been edited by Kate, which is awesome. So they're easy to follow along. I also will be doing 2 strategy calls if this is something that you're interested in. And we go through the overview of the 7 equities of your life. And then we'll create your next 2 to 3 moves in your life, or whatever it is that you're committed to, whether that's in your career or whether that's in your family, or whatever it is you're committed to. We'll pick an area of your life and we'll create the next 2 to 3 moves. I always say that's what a strategy is. You know, your 1 to 2 or at most 3 moves, right? And that's how we start walking towards our goals. And as it says here, great change requires support. So if you could have done it yourself, you would have done it by now. So just consider what it would be like to hire a coach and really expedite whatever process it is that you're committed to. And both of these things, if you add them up, they're about $497. But I'm actually going to throw in there, I'm going to be hosting live events once this COVID thing clears up and I get some of my commitments out of my way. But I'm excited to get back into the event land and really bring people together. Really, network marketing is all about events, and but there's just power in bringing people together, especially like-minded people who are committed to a career, who are committed to business, who are committed to personal development. And that's what I like to surround myself with. And that's what I want to really create once this is all just, it's going to come out perfect. I used to host events all the time, so I'm just looking forward to it as well. And it is part of just having a lifestyle in your own life. And so all of it, I am offering it for $297. And this is just something that I opened up since I had always been part of like coaching and, offering myself as part of, being able to help somebody and walk them through just the beginning stages of their businesses, and really, following along with just providing even social media support through Kate. So Kate also creates beautiful work for me. And so that's just another service that we have on top of everything that we are creating here tonight. So if anyone is interested in that, you can easily just go to trainwithstephanie.com. We have it all set up. You just put your name, your information in there, and we'll reach out and get connected to how we can get you started with getting that extra help and just that support in that next level, whatever area of life that it is that you're committed to. So I want to thank you guys again for being here tonight. I'm going to read the comments for the next few minutes. So if there's anybody who just does have any questions, thank you, May. And I see you there. I have to log out, need to fix phone issues. Oh, loved everything. Very straight, encouraging. Oh, I always love that everybody's just so sweet and kind with their comments. So thank you guys. I appreciate you all for being here again. And we will do this again in 2 weeks. The next conversation we will have is on follow through. So just ask yourself right now, what are you committed to? And let's see if you will follow through in these next 2 weeks. As I mentioned, let's see how I'm doing with my calendar. And let's see how I do on my test after by then I should have known if I passed my test or not, but I'll keep you guys updated. And but please let me know if there's anything that I can keep you guys accountable to as well, since we will hope to see you guys again in 2 weeks. You guys have a good night and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Stephanie. Oh, Stephanie, one more thing.
Yes.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I've seen changes in your leadership. It's and I know you've been attending, different different things, and you have grown more into a spiritual person and giving back, just compared for a couple years ago, just by watching you at the Enagic. Your mindset has shifted, and I see just way more of you coming out and sharing everything with us. So I just want to tell you, I'm so proud of you. I see it.
So it means so much. And you know what? It's just been nonstop work. And so and the reason I do it is to just, to be able to impact. It's something that I am committed to, but I have to stretch, I have to let go of all those things that hold me back. And right now, as I what I did is, I just, and I mentioned it in the training, that I overcommitted. I started to do more. And it's part of, growth, is that you have to take that step first, and then things break down and they fall apart. But you have to pick yourself up from that, and learning to get rid of shame, get rid of guilt, get rid of past. It's like always looking forward, but it's a practice. You have to practice looking forward, because we're all going to have a past. We're all going to have a history. And it's, and Jerry really contributed tonight in sharing that we're going to fail along the way. We are going to fail along the way. And I don't think I was necessarily failing when I was that leader, but I definitely can sense, even in myself, just creating structures. It really helped in that I have more peace now, in being present to what I'm up to in the moment,
And I see it. And I don't see you often, but I see it from that. So Mom, proud. Your little girl is blossoming even more. All right, my dear, I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I appreciate it. And thank you, Kate, for sending your text messages. She's good.
If there's anything we can do to support you as well and your team, please let me know. I'm happy to just be a contribution wherever I can. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Make more videos.
Okay. I know, that's next, coming soon.
Okay.
These are up for show as well, which is awesome.
Wait, what'd you say?
Like, these are available for me to post them up and stuff too. So that's what's really awesome as well.
No, like your old school demo videos. Those cool ones.
I did one in Spanish, so I need to definitely put it up on YouTube and to use it for the Spanish community. It was a really great demo this last Saturday. Jerry was actually the one who requested to have it, so it was really awesome. Have a lot of support actually too. People from Florida were on, people from Utah, so other Enagic teams, and we just need a lot of leadership to keep stepping up. So I'm happy to be.
No worries. Good. Because I have my friend who's in Mexico right now, and she really wants to build her team over there. And what you have, it's tremendous. There's nobody out there who's doing that right now, what you're doing, at least that I don't know of, but keep it up, girlfriend. I'll see you soon.
All I'm going to do is, just keep being that, because we really need more people to step up and do it. And so hopefully, as I commit, other people will commit right beside me, because that's what it's about, that others will gain.
Deep breath. Do it. Deep breath. All right.
All right.
Talk to you guys later.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bless everybody. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.